The past year has been a challenging time for both our community and our country. Although COVID-19 radically changed the way we work and the way we live, the pandemic did not stop CAIR from living up to our responsibility to do the hard work of protecting your civil rights, promoting justice, and empowering American Muslims.
I can't scale those principles if I don't know CAIR.
In fact, our work only increased as the crisis expanded. We quickly launched CAIRnewsroom.com.
And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is inshallah giving us all patience, wisdom as to deal with this.
Every day we shared important updates, resources, expert advice, and spiritual guidance with the community, including best safety practices for Ramadan and Eid.
My own experience, I think we need to amplify ourselves as a community, the work that CAIR does.
We also launched a nightly online program, The Daily Dose, COVID Conversations with CAIR. This program showcased the positive ways that American Muslims have responded to the pandemic, distributing food to those in need.
Some nonprofits in Sacramento are teaming up to help those in need ahead of the holy month of Ramadan.
They handed out 2,000 food boxes to families yesterday at the Islamic Center over on 65th Street. The effort involves more than a dozen groups in our area, including the Council on American Islamic Relations.
As the pandemic continued, CAIR's legal team also continued to defend those whose civil rights were violated.
This news conference is to announce CAIR's complete victory in our constitutional challenge to the federal terror watch.
In a landmark victory, a Maryland federal court paved the way for CAIR's attorneys to interview government officials under oath and obtain documents about the secret watch list advisory council, which oversees the government's so-called terror watch listing system. All of us are here today in defense of the First Amendment's guarantee of freedom of speech, including the right to engage. In addition, CAIR Georgia, and our partners filed a federal free speech lawsuit against the University System of Georgia, which canceled a journalist's speaking engagement at a college simply because she refused to sign an oath pledging not to boycott the Israeli government. We also filed a lawsuit in Delaware on behalf of 3 Muslim women forbidden by their State Department bosses from wearing hijabs. Our defense of the right to wear religious attire in the workplace also resulted in a settlement with a major company in Virginia. And when a Virginia jail violated the rights of Muslim inmates by providing special privileges to prisoners of other faiths, we sued and we won. Because striving for justice does not stop during a crisis, our government affairs team continued to mobilize community members and engage policymakers to protect human and civil rights both here and abroad.
There are more than 1 million Muslims registered to vote in the U.S. Who ends up on the ballot and in power is up to you. Please vote and make a difference.
In January, we launched our nonpartisan Muslims Vote campaign, designed to empower American Muslims by increasing their political capacity and presence in the 2020 general election. Amid the pandemic and election season, Islamophobia, racism, and xenophobia also continue to threaten our nation.
She would like to make the government of our country just like the country from where she came.
Following the police murder of George Floyd in Minnesota, we joined our justice partners nationwide in challenging systemic anti-black racism and white supremacy.
Black lives are under attack. What do we do?
On the 1-month anniversary of George Floyd's murder, we also unveiled a Black Lives Matter banner in his honor on the outside of our Capitol Hill headquarters in Washington, D.C. We spoke out against the rising tide of anti-Asian hate crimes during the pandemic, resulting in part from President Trump's hateful rhetoric.
It's a tremendous honor to be here with you all. And thank you to our Japanese American brothers and sisters who have stood in solidarity with the American Muslim community.
We also premiered Muslims at Manzanar, A Civil Rights Journey, a documentary about President Roosevelt's shameful signing of Executive Order 9066, which allowed the incarceration of Japanese Americans and others in internment camps, a crime reminiscent of the threat facing Muslim Americans today.
This trip to me is probably one of the most profound trips I have ever taken in my life. And I want you to know why we have CAIR today. It's because of pictures like this.
In the international arena, we helped Americans trapped in Yemen due to COVID-19 and the Muslim ban return home safely through our Bring Them Home campaign. We called on the NBA to prioritize its commitment to social justice over profits by ending all collaboration with the Chinese Communist Party until the government ceases its ongoing campaign of genocide against the country's Uyghur Muslim minority. We made the same demands upon Coca-Cola, Apple, and other major corporations.
Ibrahim Hooper with the Council on American Islamic Relations says the money isn't worth compromising American values.
We really can't do business as usual with them just to make a buck, and that seems to be what the NBA is doing.
We also challenge Islamophobia and human rights violations in India, Myanmar, Palestine, Kashmir, France, and elsewhere.
The issues that we have been faced with, the challenges, and within them the opportunity, not only in Washington, D.C., but around the nation, in cities and states in America where Muslims live. We have officers of CAIR to be the voice of the American Muslim community, not only to fight against Islamophobia, to build relationships with allies in the wider community who would like to stand and to see America as the beacon of freedom, of its First Amendment, of speech, of religion, of the opportunity to share everyone's message. That is the work that CAIR is doing, not just in one part of the country, but all over America. And by the way, it is what will make America great again.
Although the past year was critical and challenging for our community, the next year is just as important. We must undo the damage left behind by the outgoing president. We must convince the new president to advance positive policies here and abroad. And we must do all of this while protecting civil rights, countering Islamophobia, and empowering the next generation of American Muslims. Support CAIR as we prepare to meet the opportunities and challenges of tomorrow, inshallah.